I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jesse.
We're Cannabis School. Having cannabis-infused conversations
With everyday people,
cannabis companies,
celebrities,
and your mom.
Welcome to the Sesh.
I knew a guy who was in prison, but, it was a patient that I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy, I think I told a story about him. He killed his business partner, chopped him up, buried him in the backyard. But he was so calm, so cool. And I was just like, man, he's just like, yeah, oh well, shit happens.
Why is that sticking out so far?
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's good. I was a little just confused as to thinking something was happening. That's crazy though. I can't honestly imagine living or staying in jail or prison, any sort of it's a horrible place to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's its own culture. It turns into it has its own subcultures inside of that. It's a completely different world. It's a different planet.
Yeah.
You've been in jail before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How long were you in?
3 days.
Wow. What was that like, dude?
So it was really weird.
Did everybody kind of keep to themselves?
No, but I got left alone. I lucked out really, really good because when I went in, I got in for unpaid ticket, like a moving violation.
Which is hilarious.
That I didn't even know that
Must have been a Provo cop.
It was, but it was sent to, I wasn't really living at home, but all my mail was still getting sent to home. And I had no idea that it was in the mail, that I had anything, or my parents didn't tell me anything about it.
Right.
So then I'm driving around and I get pulled over, and apparently I have a warrant for an unpaid ticket that I have. And I was like, crap, okay. So I get put in jail, and I didn't have the money for bail at the time. And so I just sat there because my parents were like,
stupid.
Don't ever call us if you get arrested. We won't bail you out. And so I didn't bother calling them. And of course, my girlfriend at the time, her family didn't have money to bail me out either. So I didn't bother. She knew I was in jail because she was with me when I got arrested. But it was like, what was I to do? So I just sat there in jail. But I lucked out because the very first night that I got put in jail, there was a guy who was maybe 8-10 years older than me, who was the guard of the jail that night. Now, growing up Mormon, we all live in wards, basically. And in that ward, that guard grew up where I grew up.
Oh.
3 houses down from me. His mom was a wonderful person. She was friends with my mom. We knew each other. His family knew my family. And so when he saw that it was me in there, he told everyone else in the cell, don't so much as look at him, talk to him, give him crap, anything. Or you guys will be locked down for the next 48 hours. So I didn't get bothered. I didn't get harassed. I didn't get
Nobody
anything.
talked to you.
Unless I wanted to. If I talked to them, that was fine.
Who did you talk to in there? This is funny. It's
People?
I'm talking like he was in prison, being a hitman.
Everyone there, because they were like,
Fucking
why are you
tickets.
here? And I was like, I have a ticket.
Jeez.
And they're like, shit, well, I was in here for Grand Theft Auto, or I did this and I stole this. And I was like,
I'm in for drugs.
oh, yeah, exactly.
Or assault.
And they're like, you don't belong here. I'm like, I mean, I know, but welcome to our system.
Nah, honestly, it really depends. That's why I said Provo.
And you were supposed to, so I had, my court date was a week out. So I was going to be in jail for a week.
So how'd you get out?
So
He called Dog the Bounty Hunter.
So oddly enough, my dad at the time was doing handyman work.
Okay.
And he was doing a repair, some type of work on the warden's house. And the warden somehow knew that I was in jail.
Probably.
And was like, did you know that your son's in jail? You don't get visitation in the first week. You don't get calls. You don't get anything in that first week. So you can call an attorney. You can call to get bail. But you don't get
Oh, no, you can't just call whoever you want.
Nope. There was no time for that. There was no, hey, you got to go make calls. You got to do this. So you're not allowed visitation. So it was day 3. And my dad had apparently been working at the warden's house. And he was like, oh, your son's in jail. And my parents were like, no. Because I wasn't going to call him because they told me, don't ever call us. We're not going to bail you out. So then all of a sudden I get a thing that's like, hey, Brandon, you got a visitor. Well, I don't know how you're not allowed visitors. So then I go and sit on the other side of this glass, and sure enough, my parents are there. Oh shit! Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. And they're like, "What?" Like they talk to me, and they're like, "Do you want to be in here? Do you want us to bail you out?" I'd love to be bailed out.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't want to be in
Do
here.
you want to be in here?
And so they post bail for me.
Oh,
I get out.
Fuck.
But I had 3 days in that place, and it's not like what you think in the movies, because it was just one big massive cell with
Yep.
about 30 people in that one
Little
cell.
rooms. Yeah.
No, not little rooms.
Oh, you didn't have rooms.
It was all just one big room with about 15 bunk beds, some cafeteria tables in the middle,
jeez.
some shitters, and big glass windows to the hall. That's it. And so it was like being corralled in this big room with a bunch of people. A bunch of people.
That's cool.
So it was like, oh shit. Yeah, so I slept against the wall with my butt to the wall. Like,
nobody's gonna ass rape you, dude.
no, but it was just like, I think I was 19.
It's jail.
Like,
Dude, that sucks. My sister was there for about 7 or 8 months.
Jesus.
And multiple times she'd been there. I mean, total time she's probably served probably about 3 or 4 years. Because
Horrible.
she's always in there. Like, dude, my buddy, he did intake over there. 19. He might have been there when you were 19.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It was a long time ago.
It was horrible though, because I had to strip down. They do like, oh, open your ass cheeks, like all this stuff, and I'm like, for a ticket for a moving
It's
violation,
just processing.
like,
You know, and that goes down to the cop, because that guy, you know, that goes something with saying it. Like, there was a podcast that I was listening to recently, and I heard this guy's name is John McPhee, John Shrek
I've heard
McPhee.
that name.
He was called the Sheriff of Baghdad. He's a Delta Force operator.
Oh, maybe that's why
You
were
hear
telling me
his
about
song,
him.
you hear his stories, and you're like, "This is bullshit." But then he's just so crazy, and people know who he is, and they're like, "Yeah, he's a fucking war fighter." And you're like, "Okay, probably all real what he just said." But he said something about police officers that was super cool, and he goes, "You know what? They spend so much time. You know what they learn in police academy? Paperwork.
Yep.
Paperwork. That's all they."
That's
he
what
goes,
James was frustrated about. He's like, they were so focused on paperwork and stuff.
Not
and
2 week. Well, and you got to think about it because of how it is. They are more litigious against the police departments or cities, get more lawsuits against them. So your cops need to be semi-trained to be a lawyer. That's not what their job's for. This is a separate job of the law. And with now AI, that shouldn't be a really difficult thing. You should be able to do a voice integrated thing where you just talk to the little laptop in there and it charts everything for you. Like, it's so fucking stupid they spend it. But you know what he's like? You know what you need to be spending time on? Spending time on interactions with other people, proficient shooting. And he's like, all of them need to learn jujitsu to control themselves and control the situation so they don't go too far. Because if you get a highly trained jujitsu person, they don't usually go too far. Matter of fact, they're able to control and put less damage on the person because they understand it. What do they give them? A fucking 3 or 4 days of training and best of luck.
yeah,
Like, holy
Like-
shit.
we've talked about it before. It's not a defunding; it's a restructuring and funding of
Yeah,
different priorities.
but
but it's a massive, massive entire change.
Well, but the thing is, too, is that it's not a federal thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's stupid, like, when you hear about these things of defund the police. Like, you realize that the funding dollars just go differently depending upon the size of your community. I've heard stories of police officers in L.A. County where there's only certain hours where the cops are available because they don't have enough police officers to work the streets. Everybody hates a cop unless somebody's fucking trying to break in your house or they stole your shit or you're getting hurt. And so it's like, yeah, I agree with you. There needs to be a restructuring, but
That's
it's
even
on the
bad.
state level and it's on
Yeah.
the city level.
Oh, 100%.
Like Orem City, you know what they used to do? They would cross-train all their police officers and firefighters. So
Wow.
for 2 parts, like you could be a special police officer who goes and is a firefighter for 2 or 3 days out of the week, 1 week, and then the next week you work 3 or 4 days as a police officer. Because back then, this is like 1990s Orem. So there's
no crime,
no real
nothing
super
going on.
crime.
Yeah.
My buddy I grew up with, dude, who was like the most least likely to become a cop, became a cop. And he loved it. And he was a good cop. And he changed him forever when he got in a shootout in North Orem and killed the guy. And he changed after that.
Oh, yeah.
And he suffered the depression and a bunch of other things. And he died in his sleep right before he retired. Like week before we retired. That's how fucking old I am, people. People I know have retired. People I know have grandchildren. And they're friends from high school. That's fucked up.
I mean,
it's fucked up because I don't consider myself, I consider myself to be stuck in time, although the wrinkles show and the gray is there. But
well, it's weird to think about because
cops like, now are so different, dude. That's why I say that.
I mean, age-wise of like, you think about it and it's like, okay, there are people when I was young and you were young who were, well, Max turns 18 and they were getting pregnant, having kids at that age.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, fuck. So it's a possibility that you could be a grandpa in how long? And you're looking at, and like, that's what my mind thinks is, okay, how long could it be to the age? Maybe my kids choose not to have kids at some point or early on or whatever. But there's also the other side of the possibility of like, okay, well, you know, Destiny was how old, you know, and like looking at it and going, she turns 18 soon. And like, so Curtis could be a grandpa any moment. Like all of these things that you're like, oh shit, it doesn't feel like I'm old enough to, or you're old enough, like to be a grandpa. Like that concept to me seems like you got to be 60 or 7. You should be a grandpa. You should be older. You should, but
yeah, my parents were grandparents by this time. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, because my parents were.
My sister had a kid
early
right
20s.
Out of high school.
Oh, damn. Yep.
Yeah, my niece Lauren's 25.
Wow.
That's fucking nuts.
But you're 8 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And my oldest niece turns 18 in probably, like a month, maybe 2.
Yeah, my sister has a 22-year-old, a 25, 22, 18, soon to be 18, and then like a 15-year-old. Like
it's quite a gap.
Yeah, it's a huge gap.
Well,
one of her sons
10
is
years in your kids though.
Yeah,
between Max and Foe is about 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, Max. I mean, and the crazy thing too is that they're both born on the exact same day.
Yeah, that is crazy,
and that's nuts. And both of them were supposed to be born on my birthday, but they were both late.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were both born on the
wild.
same day. Here's the crazy thing. They look very similar to their children pictures, and they do the very same. They
have a lot of similarities in their personality.
Well, yes. Max was like the ultimate imagination kid and running around and doing crazy stuff. Phoenix he loves the wrestling.
Yeah.
So it's all the time with him. But I mean, dude, he's always like about fitness now. It's so cool.
That's fantastic for an 8-year-old though. Dude, back on that jail thing though, you know what's been crazy is so we had on our show a little bit back, he brought us fantastic, really nice warm sweaters, these beautiful putters.
Yeah,
Jeremy. Yep. And
Friznik.
Jeremy over at Greenskeepers.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to him. We got coffee a little bit back, and he was telling me how he had a story, and he spent 30 days in jail. And it was basically because he didn't have the money to pay for the attorney to get him out, because it wasn't something he probably should have gone, but he willingly went and just served that time because he was like, well, I don't have the $100 and something thousand to pay for the attorney fees that it would cost to get me out of this. And it was like, that's insane. Like, how many people willingly go to jail for stuff that wealthy people just get out of? Like, my barber went down to Texas for 30 or 60 days, chose to go down and serve time for something just to get it off his record. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to go do it. I've gone to jail when I was young. I've done that. It's, I can go down and just do this time and dedicate that. And he just spent his time cutting hair in jail for that time.
Sweet.
And I was like, I mean,
lots of practice.
Yeah, teach their own. But
gave a service to that community.
It's such a crazy experience and mindset to like willingly go into like, yeah, I know I'm going to go into this cage, this weird cage system for 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is, and change my, like, everything, to be in that moment. Like, even him, he was like, yeah, I had to go be like hard. I had to harden myself and like act like this or, and yeah, he's done it before, but it might not be the same person that he is out here in society.
I wonder how I'd do in jail. I think I'd make a lot of friends.
I think I would too, but that's just, I don't know. I feel like it's different now.
Well, I mean, now definitely. I was way more machismo when I was younger, and I would have probably ended up, doing bad stuff. But, I was able to talk my way out of it. I've been in handcuffs a lot, but I've never gone to jail. I've never had criminal actions pressed against me. I've had like civil suits, but that's not legal. And you can't send me to jail for that. You can't even really garnish my wages for it. Good fucking luck. But it's unfortunate that you have to go. But I think it's interesting what you pointed out, because you'd said, rich people wouldn't do that, but it's the power of your position and perspective. Because for somebody who doesn't have options, he's like, fuck, I got to go to jail. When you're wealthy and you're like, and you tell somebody, going, oh, fuck, I got to go to jail. And they go, hold on a second. Why do you have to go to jail?
Yeah.
And you're going, oh, because of these things. Hold on, let me make a phone call. Because they have the position.
Yeah. Well, even like, so in between our last episode and this, I ran in, went to the bathroom, glanced at my phone for a second, and I saw there's an article about the music venue here in Utah called The Complex. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the owners of the complex, I guess, has been tied up in one of the largest marijuana things. Basically, he was tied up where they bought marijuana out in California and sold it all over the U.S. And they took that money and they, laundered the money into their business in the complex to repair their business, make it better, and outbid other venues in getting artists.
Yeah.
And so they laundered marijuana money, $10 million in marijuana money.
That's not very much.
Not much, but like
especially in marijuana world, it's not crazy.
No, but they got busted with that. And so now they've been given 3 years probation. So not jail time, not any actual thing, but probation. And that's the difference of what I think money and not money can make in some of those instances where you see, someone like that, where they get 3 years probation, not serve time or anything else. And someone like, say the barber or Jeremy or that, or even me, where, hey, I wasn't able to make bail time, bail for that. So I served time instead in a cage. It's just a different.
Well, and it really is, because the money isn't necessarily like greasing palms or anything like that. What you pay is for knowledge. And that's kind of like, I have a lot of friends within different sectors of business and technology. And the funny thing, it's like, I've seen a meme of it. And it has this like beautiful picture of the back end of this hand-drawn, like stenciled horse. And you see the tail and you can see the strands of hair. And then you get to the middle of it and it's like, wow, you can see the muscle definition. And then you get about halfway and it turns into a children's drawing and it goes, and it has this like weird face and it's smiling. It's like not even a horse face. It's like a human face. And it says, when somebody asks you, can you do it cheaper?
Yeah.
And it's exactly that. It's the perception versus perspective. And that's the thing is that the perception by many people is that rich people are fucks because they don't have to serve time. But the perspective is they don't.
Well, money is equal to energy.
And knowledge, because you get
that's all energy
smart
is.
Yeah, energy.
If you've got the knowledge, it's because you've invested time and energy to acquire that knowledge. So even if you don't have that and you have stored energy of money, you're paying for someone else's stored energy of knowledge or whatever that they've acquired to do that.
Pause. Does that look okay? Should I smoke that more?
You could. That's pretty fucking greenish still.
Okay, cool. I'm wondering how many times I've emptied up something like that into my. I have got. I'll tell you where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Pretty good amount.
Yeah.
I'm almost ready to make a tincture.
That's solid.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
But it's you always pay for the expertise in that skill.
100%.
You go get a master or craftsman in anything, you will pay more, but the quality of work and the thing that comes out is fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But it's what you pay for. It's like, yeah, you can buy a Kia or you can buy a high-end Mercedes. The experience of driving that is hands down different than driving the other.
I really like what you said, bro. And I'm gonna hang on that for a little bit. It's exchanging energy. And I like that because it's positive energy. One doesn't exchange any value that's hold monetary anywhere in this world unless the energy is right. And the thing is that it depends upon what you value. For right now, penny pinching, doing everything we can, like many of you, trying to survive on whatever the fuck we make, if you can call it making anything. But at the same time, we know that it's just going to take time and money. Once you have money, you have options. But it's the energy you give, and that's where we can make money in different ways because of the energy.
Just invested energy. And the longer and more energy you invest, the more that comes back to it. So that's I look at the energy I invest into our project and that and go, all right, the more energy I put in, the more energy comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that. And it's like, yeah, there's a certain balance to energy. I can overexert my energy and it doesn't bring back that because it's not focused or directed or specific. And in a way that it's like, yeah, you can spin your wheels or you can put direct energy in specific places that, this directs outcome, A plus B equals C. So, yeah, you have to figure out A plus B equals C. And sometimes that's readjusting of energy going, hey, I'm putting more energy here. Maybe I should reallocate energy here because that gives me a better output here.
Yeah.
But, that's just like everything. It's like our work. It's like businesses. It's like racing. It's, hey, where is my energy? Is it in braking? Is it in gas? Is it where do I get that fine-tuned energy?
Where do you find the flow?
Yeah.
Where you can keep positive energy going forward.
That's the same thing I feel like with business, with relationships. It's just putting energy. And we notice that, we put energy into relationships and then we feel, I'm not getting any energy back. Hey, I'm putting in all this energy and that depletes you. It drains you in that relationship going, hey, there's no energy coming back. It's all one way. And there has to be a flow to energy, to have
No,
that.
totally.
There has to be that continuous flow for energy, I feel like. And if it's not, it just becomes stagnant and we lose it.
Not only stagnant, you become, what's the word? Spiteful. And you start to think of things that you could do better. And you start comparing and you start judging. And then you start holding all these beliefs of this other person because of that. It was interesting when you were saying that, it's so indicative of your behaviors that you are A plus B equals C. My mind is we're going to start with A, but we might end with J. We don't fucking know.
Oh,
let's move.
It always starts that way, but usually it's a fine tuning because I'm
in retrospect that you usually see. No, but it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's the different energy that you could be able to put into there. What's the most valuable energy that you can give? And sometimes just working hard is a contradiction. Mm-hmm. The idea of working hard is...
No, I prefer working smarter than harder. But I do know that it still takes hard work.
Well, I like one of the things is if I, and this is a Cardoneism, I like what he said a long time ago. If you guys don't know who Grant Cardone is, some of you probably follow him. Some of you are utilizing some of his ideas on how to sell. It's very dated, but it's good. But the one thing I really like is his mindset stuff, and I wish he would lean into that. And the reason why I say that is this. He says that I don't work for a living. If I want to work hard, I'll go dig a ditch. He's all, that's work. He's like, what I do is I work to prosper. So when you say prosper, time is irrelevant. If I put 8 hours every day minimum, then I can achieve this goal, which is true. But sometime when you become passionate about something, time becomes irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep going and going and going and going and going.
Oh, yeah. But there's usually still a dedication of, because it's a passion, yeah, I'm going to invest at least this much time today. But because it's a passion and you have that love for it, again, you find that flow, you're dedicating more than the allocated time for it because, well, you're in flow. And you find that there is that love and that passion. So still, people, even like when you did martial arts, yeah, you might find a flow, but you had a dedication of, yeah, I'm going to be doing this much every week. Yeah, I'm going to be dedicating this much, because you knew if you're not putting in the work, there's nothing that's going to come out.
Well, and the thing is, too, is knowing what you can do. A lot of times what can happen during that portion of hard work is that life comes in the way, and all of a sudden you've got not distractions, but roadblocks everywhere. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
and this starts to...
you have to go, I have all this shit in life, and then you have to fit that into your other stuff, because you're like, I know in order to keep this up, I have to dedicate at least my minimum to, it's like working out. If you don't work out regularly, well, your body's not going to do as great. And then going back, it's going to suck because, well, you haven't been doing the day-to-day shit that honestly you probably should have.
Right.
And it's like, life always will get in the way. Life will never stop getting in the way. So we have to choose whether or not we, figure out that, because I don't think it matters whether we're 10, 13, 50 years old, 80 years old. Life will never stop getting in our way.
No, I'm saying, like, when you have a specific goal, a lot of times it's easy to be derailed. It's easy to be able to be pulled off course.
Because we lose sight of all the stuff that got us there in the first place.
I don't think so. I think
you don't think so?
No, I think it's the pressure of what's going on, because when you do something for so long and no results comes out, but you keep doing the thing and you're like, if I keep doing that, it's great. Other things start to fall off, and then you're not able to do those things. And it usually depends upon where you're at financially, like where I will get pulled off course with certain things because I'm super stressed and I have no other way to make
You're chasing the money. Yeah.
Well, I have to, right? And at the point, because if it was just me, it's not a big deal. But if it's we, like I've got 5 kids, my wife and my mother-in-law, it's a massive amount. And then on top of that, all the bills and everything like that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
The responsibility and the stress that comes with it.
And that's why, like, it's understanding. I like what you're saying. I'm not naysaying any of that.
I know.
What I'm adding to it is that really leaning into what your superpower is and leveraging that for that energy progress, because it goes back to, like, and I hate to be able to bring it up, but your brother Thomas really hurts my heart. And the reason why is that he got a really awesome degree that is not a throwaway of like, yeah, I got a degree in communications. If you got a degree in communications and you're making a fuck ton of money because of that one, bro, give me a call, because you're the only one. But Thomas had this engineering degree, and I was like, man, what he could do. Like, I see engineers as the builders of society, and they make our lives better. And I'm like, oh, it's so cool. And he doesn't even do nothing. No. And it's so sad to me.
Well, it's because he knows now that he has a family and he has to provide for his family.
No. Before that, he had years.
But he wasn't even in there. So in that time, he was still going to school. He still had his wife, but then he got, okay, hey, I'm making this much. And already he was making more. He worked less hours. He had more time with his wife. And then he graduated. And it was like, okay, now I can go and work in this, but I don't have the skills. So
exactly,
I have to go and start at the bottom, make less money, spend more time. And for me to get even to where he's at, he was like, it'll take me years and years and years to get to where I'm at. And so instead of going, because for him, they spend a lot of money. And there's no way for them to maintain that same life and switch that career.
And that's why I said that, because why it makes me sad is not necessarily that he's not doing well for himself, but the thing is why go after something if that is not what you want to do? And when you do it with the perception that you're going to make a lot of money,
how many of us know what we truly want to do? Though?
But how many of us even explore it? What do they do? It's like the same discussion.
So long, because like if you think about it,
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
I wish that more of school would be this, like, hey, you want to be what when you grow up or whatever, because like you said, hey, this is where you want to focus.
Yeah, but that's on us
it
as
is,
parents,
but also
as
our
communities.
School systems, everything, like jobs, everything. If it was like, hey, your kid wants to go in and learn about this, cool, here's a system. You want to be curious on an engineer? You can go into this company, but we don't have a lot of that for kids to come into, and their curiosities of like, you're really interested in this? Come into this engineering firm, come into this, let's teach you this, let's show you this, let's walk you through these programs, let's see if this is a viable thing in real life that you want to do, past the like, you think it's a great idea, but there's a difference in our ideas and like theory and reality, because we don't really know what the reality of the job is ever. Well, like most of us don't.
And that's the thing is, like, if it becomes a job and you fucking hate it, that's not your passion.
Yeah.
And you need to explore that. But you're exactly right. That's the thing that I don't tell my kids. Like, I'm like, if you want to go into something that you think is cool right now, just know it's going to change.
Yeah.
It's going to change. You are going to change.
But I would imagine that it really doesn't matter what we do, because like the person you are now is way different than the person you were 10 years ago.
100%.
And same with me. Like, I don't know if the person I am now would enjoy the things that 10 years ago or 15 years ago Brandon would have either. And so I think, like, looking at our discussion the other day of what we wanted to be when we grow up, and I think that concept, like you said, it's kind of a weird broken idea of like, and maybe it's in our parents' generation of like, hey, you need to have a job.
It's gone on for a long time.
And theirs of like, you need to have this job for your life. You retire from it, you work for a company. So what do you want to be when you grow up? Because you have to have that figured out versus, you're going to go and be a million different things in life. You can choose anything, but you have to find, you have to invest enough energy into it to make it a viable business, a viable job, a viable whatever. Because it's like everything has changed. At one point you thought you'd be MMA teacher or fighter or whatever.
Yeah, I wanted to be an MMA fighter.
And then a cop and like all these other things. And now, but in like sales and like everything. And you don't think that, like,
I don't
it's
think
so weird to have this, we need to be this cog or this thing. Like, couldn't we just be this ever adapting, changing, at any point in life, you might change your job. At any point in life, you might find a new passion that you really want to pursue, that you're like, shit, I could make a lot of money doing that, and find that you do that more and enjoy it more. Like, why does it have to be this designated, this is what you want to do, this is what you want to be, because we have to have this label attached of what we need to be? Well,
it's interesting. So going back in time, like surnames. So surnames weren't a very common thing. It's a fairly new thing within human evolution, in human civilization, right? So
because it used to be what you did.
Exactly. Yep. And you see, but the thing is that nobody thought about it when they did that. They had a purpose in the community.
Yeah.
They were well respected and liked
for what they did.
What they did. And so all of your kids were known as
the butcher, the baker,
goldsmith,
whatever it is.
You're a goldsmith. I mean, you look at these last names. A lot of these names that came out of a lot of European, Middle Eastern countries, their last, especially Israel, right? Jewish people have like a steep culture in their last surname was, because usually you were the son of, like you'd be the son of Greg.
Yeah, okay.
This is Brandon, son of Greg. That's how you be introduced. There was no last name.
Yeah.
There was no there was no need for it. You didn't hear about do you even know what's his name? Like the King of England now?
Oh, I have no idea.
But that's the thing though, dude. What does he go by?
But I don't care.
No.
Oh,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying the name wise.
Wait. So, do they go king now?
Yeah,
or is it
the Queen's been dead for a while.
Okay,
so
Prince Charles is now
King Charles. So that's crazy. What's his last name?
No idea.
I fucking no clue. You could probably look it up and somebody's like, oh, it's this.
I bet I wonder in the UK, and maybe those in the UK can chime in. Is it more well known in your area, kind of like maybe the first name of the president here? Maybe it was, instead of Obama, or Trump, it's, knowing their first names. Maybe it's kind of the similar thing that in that culture and society, it's a little bit more well known. Versus, here it's always
I'm curious
Prince
on
Charles or Queen Diana or whatever it was.
It's Prince. It's Prince
so-and-so.
William.
Yeah,
but it's Kate Middleton. His wife is Kate Middleton.
Because she's no royalty by blood. She's just royalty by marriage, which isn't a title, maybe.
Right, but it's so silly.
It used to be, didn't it? Though?
It's so silly because I think that's why now why we float around is that we don't have a designation of value in our culture.
Because, and this is me thinking out loud, is it because we don't have as many master craftsmen in every specific area? We have a lot of like a middle ground. There's a lot of like,
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. Like if we have like, this is a funny point of contention with schools, right? They're going to put more money into football, right? Football, basketball, typically the higher ones. Baseball, kind of down here. Field and track.
Arts and shit.
Right. Bowling. No shit. They have it in schools now. But you know what they don't? They don't really have this like big focus on marijuana.
They don't have a big focus on marijuana in schools.
I wish they did. They just fumigate the room for a little bit. All right, you little shits, pull out your books. Let's read for 4 hours.
Addie was telling me that around the drug dare week or whatever, they had someone come in from some guy had recently got out of jail because of hard drugs. And he was like, oh, don't do drugs because I killed my parents because I was addicted to drugs and I stole their money and then I killed them and did this.
He literally killed them?
I guess that's what he said.
Fucking
and he was like,
storyteller.
And don't start because marijuana is a gateway drug. And I'm like, what? That dude sounds like he's addicted to meth or heroin or like some crazy shit. That's not marijuana. Like,
that sounds like blame, bro.
I was like, who is bringing this garbage in?
Fucking victims.
So that's, I was like, this is what they're talking about in schools. Like, but
dude, that's so funny you brought it up because my son, how old is Daddy? 13?
Addie's 12, almost 13.
So my son, he's 15. I just had to learn about my sister-in-law works at their school as a aide. Such a cool school, man. They get usually about 1 to 2 aides per class to help the teacher. And it's so awesome.
Nice, yeah. A lot more hands-on.
And they don't care about like test scores. They just care about if the kid feels like they're progressing and learning, right? We learned that the Phoenix more likely has dyslexia. That's why it's so hard for him to read. So we just work with them slow. Just go at your pace, dude. Just more reps. And
just getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the thing is, that's why they created No Kid Left Behind and stuff. But it's because our school system, it's so hard to just focus on a kid on their speed and go, hey, what's best for you?
Yeah. I mean, no. But anyway, before I go off to Nick, some lady, I think it was like about some Dare Week stuff. And he goes, oh, you guys talking about marijuana? Cannabis? And they're like, yeah. And he goes, my dad smokes that all day long. They're like, what? And they're like, yeah. And he goes, and you got to remember, my son is super high functioning autism, but it's so because when people that he trusts tell him that something is real, he takes it as fact. But if he's corrected, he feels empowered, which is really cool now. And he's like, he's acted really concerned around me.
Interesting.
Because I'll smoke before we go lift.
Mm-hmm.
Like he goes, my oldest goes with us, which is really cool.
So what was told to him that now he's concerned?
Well, that I could die from it. And he's like, people have been known to die from it. And I'm like, that's awesome. Who told you that? And he goes, well, one of the teachers did. And I said, that's awesome. You want me to give you some great tips on that? And he goes, yeah, what'd I say? And he goes, not one human being has ever died of a cause of marijuana use. Yeah. There are other things that were, the same thing could have happened to him if they, Well, dude,
Yeah.
he could have eaten like a really greasy burger. Like, have you ever heard about a guy who was a comedian? His dad had to go to the hospital because he ate an entire tray of lasagna.
Yeah. No shit.
So much sodium in his body that it almost killed him. And so it was just like, yeah. And I was like, you can die from that, Nick. And I said, but no one's ever done like, he's like, what happens if you use too much? You will pass out. You will pass out either from just the sheer panic. Eventually, you'll just stop breathing. I was like, and then you'll wake up.
Literally just fall asleep.
You'll just fall asleep. And he's like, what? Yeah. And it was his face because he's like this. I mean, my son is like really expressive. He goes, what?
Yeah,
and I was
because
like, yeah,
he's
dude.
going, okay, I've been lied to, and they're telling me you can die. But then...
And I said, what else did they teach you? And he goes, that it's a gateway drug. I said, to what? And he goes, well, they said harder drugs. Nick, have you ever seen me do harder drugs? No. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what, bud. I eat healthier now.
Yeah.
I eat way healthier now.
I am way more conscious about what goes into my body now because...
And I'm more conscious about other people's feelings.
Oh, yeah. Because I'm more aware of it. Because I'm more...
I'm slow.
Present.
I can be present. My mind's not going so fast that I can't, because I mean, we could say ADD is because of that. I mean, dude, all of these things, including autism, all this shit's been around for a really long time. We just have way more fucking people. Well,
and it could also be our food and stuff in there.
No. What they've shown, like that one, like, you know, when you talk about that, like you brought up kids, like, I'm encouraging my kids to have children. I want them to have children. Our birth rate is extremely low in the United States. You know who's out fucking us? Africa, mainly Nigeria. They're having about 7 to 8 kids per family.
Yeah.
Do you know that right now South Korea is by 2070, their population will be nearly like gone.
Just because
they have more elderly people than they have younger people, and the younger people aren't taking care of the jobs to keep the infrastructure going.
Oh, dang.
So now you've got no medical professionals, no engineers. So that's why I said, like, if you get into something, that's why, going back to your brother, that's marijuana talking, but going back to your brother, why it made me sad is that the possibility of doing something worthwhile matters less to something that just makes you money for stuff. It's something I was thinking about. Money has never made me really happy. No. It's taken off some anxiety for certain things, but it just, like Bennett, dude, like, it didn't do anything. It made it worse.
That's the thing I've realized is if the money isn't what makes you happy, the stuff isn't what makes you happy.
No.
At the end of the day, none of that honestly matters, because I've driven all sorts of different cars. I've lived in all sorts of different houses. My parents have had all sorts of different houses. And at the end of the day, I've not noticed a single difference in happiness from one to the next, to the next, to the next.
Mm-mm.
Because it doesn't matter what things are surrounding me, what stuff. It doesn't matter what vehicle I'm driving. It doesn't matter how much dollars is in my wallet. Because honestly, and it sucks to say, but like through my most depressed times, when I truly had to find happiness, I realized the only place that it existed was inside me. It didn't matter any of the other external factors. Yeah, it can be a bitch and a half to get out of your head. It really can. But that's the only way you actually find happiness. Because Bennett, he hit his first million by 30. And then he was like, well, shit, my life is shit. It's not what I thought it was.
Because that was a goal for him. He achieved it. And that's where, like, goals are great for like a business sense, but it's not good for a life sense, because a goal is nothing.
It's good to have a thing of like, hey,
it's like saying
let's
goal
work
is
towards
to
this.
Drink more water this year. Like, yeah, you fucking retard. You should be drinking water. Like,
yeah, but
does not ridiculous. You're putting poison into your body, but you're going to avoid that. Like, that's dumb.
Right.
That's dumb. I don't think, I think goals are flaccid now. I think they're just, you stack them instead of going after what you said, which is most important, right? Like, a goal for you isn't to send the emails.
It's actually to do the work. Because I realized, and it was Bennett's that actually I think made the biggest difference, because that conversation about like, hey, I didn't want to have this goal of this, or like, hey, instead of making the goal like this big lofty thing, because then what happens when you hit that?
Yeah.
Then you're left unfulfilled in a moment. And so instead, my goal is, what is the work I can put towards this thing? My goal isn't I need X amount of dollars. I need this. My goal is
That's
I know that it will grow. I know I can help endless amounts of people. All I have to do right now is this required minimum. If I do this, my outcome will be this. It will be. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be a few months, but it will be. It's kind of like going to the gym. If I work out regularly, if I do this every day, it doesn't matter. Excuse me. I don't have to be, crazy ripped, but I know if I have this consistent pattern every day, my body will be hella strong by here.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. You're like, all right, if I do just this minimum required, it's like, all right, well, what could I do? What daily goals could I set of this is what I do to just take care of myself, take care of this, just make sure things are going. If I do that, I know that the outcome will be good. It won't take me a lot of time. I don't have to worry about my goal is to make this much money. No,
which is good to hear, man, because that has been like, from the outside looking in, that's been something that I've heard
always
you
stressed
said
about it, because I look at, I've always had
not
this
stressed.
comparison
It's
of
yes.
because it's always been, shoot, Aaron Lee, when we were young, well, we're the same age. He made $1 million by the time he was 30. Well, where was I at by the time I was 30? Well, I was divorced. I was, filed for bankruptcy because my ex had made it. Like all of these things. And this comparison, looking at my dad. Well, where's my dad when he was my age? Oh, well, shit. And just feeling like I'm always behind. And so now instead of focusing on, hey, where am I at? Okay, well, am I doing what I should be? Yes. That's what's important. Am I doing what I should? Am I taking care of my body? Am I putting in the work? Because I know I don't have to work crazy hard. I just have to put in the work. And if I put in the work and I'm consistent, the outcome will be there, because I know consistency is the key. It's like you will get better. Your form will get better. Whatever you're doing will get better with time.
Mm-hmm.
It's consistency. And it's not that you have to put in 1 million fucking reps or 1 million calls or 1 million emails or reaching out to 1 million people. But it's like, again, we broke it down. Well, 22 reps today. Cool. I had to send 22 emails in a day. I had to do this. Well, what was my required thing of, I know this energy gives me the output that I want, and is just a little energy.
Yeah, I like what you're going on that. It brought a lot of ideas to my mind. One of them, to kind of lead this out, was a Jockoism. People can love or hate Jocko Willink, but there are some things that I really admire about his ideals. Not necessarily him as a person. I don't know
who he is as a person, but I've liked some of his ideas and theories and books.
Yeah,
it's been fantastic.
And what I like about it is some of his social media is really cool, because every single morning, you know what you get on his social media? A picture of his watch.
Consistency.
And he is at the squat rack every morning.
Because that's how we get to...
And I think that's more important than the reps of what you've just said. And I like where you've gone, because for me, I started to think about, is the consistency. It's not about how much you're doing, because it's like going to the gym. And I get what you're saying on the comparison side with your friend Aaron and making money, because that money has never been something valuable to me. It's not.
Yeah.
I've had so many different friends growing up, did really well. So many of them did really well at a young age, but they cheated the system. When you get there too fast, it's not good. I mean, like Bennett was like, that was fast. No, these guys I knew in high school.
I didn't know anyone who cheated the system. I knew people
I didn't know
who
either.
Put in who they weren't always like the crazy hardest workers. They were usually smart hard workers.
Nah, these guys, dude, these are con men. Which was crazy. Like all the jock dudes, like the super popular guys. Well, they got this thing going on, and they were selling some type of financial course. Back in the day before, like Udemy and all these things, they were non-existent. You had to buy them, and they were expensive.
Oh yeah.
Well, they were selling these courses that they learned from somebody else, and somebody made a typo in there was a bug in the checkout, and it would add a zero.
Damn.
So instead of paying $1,200, you're paying $12,000. And they turned into millionaires. And they were in Vegas, and they had like Diddy homes, fucking Ferraris and shit like that. All of this shit out front. My friend Jeremy went down there. We grew up together, and he's like, dude, it's crazy. They got so much money. And then years later, you found out because of that. Did
But see, there's a lot of scammers, and that's what
they
I don't
didn't.
like.
But the thing is once they realized it, they didn't know what was going on. But once they realized it, they should have been like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, because I would feel horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Like if one of those, if one of the dispensaries signed up for Cannabis School approved, right? And it added a zero, which wouldn't be crazy price, not even in the marketing world. But at the same time, I would feel so guilty.
It'd be like, hey,
refunded.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like this charge, let's give you this year for free. Like something that it would be like.
Oh, no. It would
because you think about like, how many times have we had in our worst, hardest times, a check bounce because something went through that it wasn't supposed to? And
what do you mean hard time? That shit happens probably monthly.
But you think about it, it's like, okay, how does that happen? Like you do that to a business.
Yeah.
You would fuck someone's business.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that to
someone. I wouldn't either, dude.
Like
that's why I don't do Google reviews if I'm mad.
Yeah, I don't either. I like leaving a good review. Usually the only time that I will leave...
if the people are horrible to me.
If it's consistent.
Yeah.
Because, I hadn't left a review for Aubergine because we used to eat there often and I really liked it. But then we noticed a consistent degradation in quality, in customer service, and it was many times. And finally, after many times, I left a review because it was like, hey, I used to love this place. But over time, like I've noticed this. It's not out of a hateful, spiteful. It's just an honest review of like, hey, this is the experience that I've had over time. It's still like the food's good. It's not bad, but like the experience isn't the same.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine. But it's something that as a business owner, I feel like I would want to know. Hey, your experience isn't what you thought it might be.
If they care.
Yeah, because as an owner, you truly should care.
At a smaller place like that, yes.
You should care to an extent everywhere the experience your customers have.
I think that gets lost due to corporatization in some places. Yes. You know, a lot of people will give hate to Chick-fil-A, but I'll tell you what, dude, that is the most efficient place to buy your food. And it's a little bit more expensive, but it's better, it's faster.
Every time not everywhere. The one in Orem on Center, I've never had a time there, even in the drive-thru, that I'm there under 30 minutes. It is at least 30 minutes or more. And that's...
The one in American Fork, dude, that thing's clockwork. Yeah. The one in Saratoga
Provo is better. But the one right by my, like up center, that is the worst one.
And the funny thing is that that's a symptom of a bad individual running that place.
It's very possible, yeah.
Because when you look at like the old McDonald's, I encourage you guys watch The Founder. Get really high and watch The Founder. But it's cool to kind of see the origins of what McDonald's was going to be. And the McDonald's brothers, dude, they just wanted it to be something great. And they didn't really want to go past where they were at. But it was because somebody saw the potential.
Most people don't dream. Honestly, most people don't dream crazy big. They dream like this big, and they're fine because that dream encompasses all they've ever thought of.
Yeah.
But then the reality is McDonald's now is probably way more than what they ever originally thought it would be.
It's the same thing there. Like they saw everybody thinks like, you know, because they were going to raise the amount paying your workers, is that's why they forced more automation. No, they wanted more consistency. Yeah. They wanted more consistency. Now it's up to the individual to fuck up the order if they didn't put something on. And that's like, okay, cool. It's like self-checkout. Like a lot of people hate that. I don't hate it. Why? I don't have to get like, you know, I've been on, I've had government assistance, right? And if I got an EBT card and I'm all swiping it over there, I feel judged.
Oh, it was the worst. Yeah.
How many people are on EBT right now? Right? How many of those you guys are right now? You swipe that card, you palm it. Nobody's excited about using that card, and you shouldn't feel ashamed at all. But at the same time, that's why I like self-checkout. There's an autonomy to it. I don't have to do what you want me to do.
Well, and sometimes, honestly, I'm peopled out. or just don't feel like having a conversation with another person. And it's because I know they don't want to be there. They're not wanting to have that conversation half the time, and I can see it on their face.
That's why I like
And if I go
Costco.
to self-checkout, then they can just chill. Honestly, I don't give a shit if they're on their phone half the time.
No.
Unless I actually need help. And then it's like, but that's just common, like...
Those are jobs that are going to disappear fast.
And it's not a job
And
that
that's
I'm
okay.
like, there's a certain level of understanding, I feel like, because we grew up in the era of cell phones coming in, becoming new, busy, like popular, everyone having
Pagers
them.
were cool when I was like a senior.
So, yeah, I remember pages all
dude, that's how fucking...
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like it was, I mean, that was, but no, exactly. Like once you
Yeah.
started introducing like instant connection, it became so much more busy. We cared way more about what other people thought about us.
Even then, so Emily sends me all these TikToks.
Dude, that video that I sent you, does that not fucking ring true? That
it was great. The one she sent me on this was like these two, and they look like they're in their 20s, I would say. But they actually brought up these really good points. And they're like, it's really weird that a company expects us to come in for 40 hours a week, every week, and the second we get in the door to forget that we have a family, a partner, kids, a social life, a sex life, sickness, mental health, any of these things should not exist the second we step inside these doors. And they expect us to treat it like none of these things exist the second we step inside these doors. And so we're not even ourselves, we're not people, we're not human. They expect you to basically be a robot and show up into these things. And I'm like, that is really weird when you think about it, because we live in this world of so connected and human, but yet our businesses and the companies we work for are just so disconnected in the fact that all they want is a robot to do the job. But yet, it's what's our society? What's our culture? We've got great culture. We provide pizza. We have, Fun Fridays where you can play ping pong at work. And you're like,
but dude, there is this massive movement across the world. In China, they call it "Let It Rot," and their youth are rebelling against the government by not doing the jobs. They're doing the basic minimum. They've got contests over there of who can live off of the equivalent of like $2 to $3 a week. Like, how can I survive? And they don't care. And the reason why, because you can't fight the system, but they'll kill you. So what are you going to do? Well, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And I mean, I'm sure they've done some of it, but just recently, Xi Jinping came out trying to encourage the youth to think about the future and was really like, he is forced to.
Yeah.
And that's why those authoritarian, reason why I bring up an authoritarian such as Xi Jinping is that these corporations you're talking about, that's the way they think. I provide, thus you will follow and do as I say.
Yeah. And they're like, it's really weird that they have all these rules that you have to follow. And like, yeah, it's like being a kid. And they're like, it is like being a kid. And I think about it because Emily works for Tesla. And you guys treat your employees like fucking children.
Yeah, well.
It's kind of ridiculous
but
their like hyper micromanaging styles.
Yeah.
And just.
Do you know where a lot of that
everything.
came from? COVID and remote jobs.
Yeah.
Remote job, because Elon had told a lot of those people at Twitter, because they were so happy at working at home, making about up to $200,000 a year doing fucking nothing. Go back and watch those videos of people who were working with tech companies in California, and they go through their day of fucking drinking lattes and eating their avocado toast, and that's all they do all day. They didn't fucking do any work, but they make a fuck ton of money, and you're like, fuck those people.
Yeah.
Like you didn't you didn't do anything, and that goes back to the exchange of energy.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that more than value.
Yeah,
I like that a lot more than value.
What is your energy that you put in? Because honestly, like I see everyone as having value. I don't see one human being more valuable to me than another human. And so to me, it's just okay. Well, what's your energy that you put in? Did you put in energy, or did you like It's all those school projects. There was always the kids who did the work, and then there was the kids who fucked off and got all the credit for the work that was done by the people who put in the energy.
Yeah, but that kid was smart.
No, he just got credit for the one who was smart.
Well, it's the same thing as like seeing a CEO. If a company does really well, they take care of their employees, they do all those
But the
things.
CEO has value because if they're a good CEO, the energy that they bring helps grow, scale.
That's exactly
and
what
helps
I'm
that
saying.
business.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but
you
that's
don't see
different
that.
than the ones that just in school where the kids fucking around. That energy isn't doing anything for the project. There's nothing that they're putting
100%.
in.
And
So
that's like what you said
know.
about Tesla. Like, I don't know if Elon is the CEO or he's just a board
I don't
member.
know.
But the thing is, it usually comes from up on high, and
Always.
it always comes like how the feel is. And as intelligent and as forward thinking as Elon is, he's not a people person. That guy shouldn't be
No.
running people.
Mm-mm.
Same
No.
with Steve Jobs.
There's a huge disconnect, it seems like, all the way down in that company. And it's really surprising because when Elon's supposed to be the wealthiest person in the world or one of them, and I'm looking at that going, okay, yeah, so you're successful in some ways, but if your company is struggling this much with simple things like processes and structure, how the fuck
reason
are you where you're at?
Well, and that's another good point you bringing up there is figuring out where your superpower lies, right? Like, that's one of the cool things that we
I think
enjoy
it's
about.
hard because no school teaches us that. They don't go, here's your superpower or here's how you find your superpower.
And honestly, dude, like what you said there, like I agree with you on some point on there. The other point is that school just needs to be cut down. Like, it needs to be half of the time.
8 hours a day is ludicrous. Plus homework. What the
3
hell?
hours. 3 hours. 3-hour classrooms.
I could say 3 to 4. So when I went to Leahona, granted I had seminary, so that's why it was 4 hours roughly. But no, I guess I did math at home because they didn't have a high enough math teacher there at the school to do mine, so I had to teach myself. But I basically had 4 hours of school 4 days a week. And that was more than enough for me to learn all that I needed to in that allocated time.
Oh yeah, dude. No, we did homeschool. We didn't have to do it all damn day. And the thing that I think that people would push back on it that is like, well, what happens to the football teams? Do you know why the schools have to grow to the size they are? Because they need money. And the only thing that's going to bring money is the potential that one of these children can turn into an NFL player to go play football for a living
or somewhere else.
Exactly.
And
so what you put money into is what you invest into, which is the outcome that you're going to get. They are not, you're betting on less than 1%. Like, it's less than 1% of any high school kid that will become a college player.
Oh, wow.
And it's less than 1% of the college players that become an NBA player.
That's crazy.
So I learned this through this cool company that was up in
Actually, that makes a lot of sense when you think about it because tons of kids I knew in high school, played basketball, played football, played whatever sport. 99% of them never played in college.
No.
Ever. And so I think it's because it's fun and you do it. It's a thing in school, but past that,
it's not a purpose in life.
No, they're like, this isn't what I want to do for my job.
Yeah.
And so past that, why would you play in college if you're not going to go pro? Because there's truly no value for you unless you get a scholarship. Most people who play in college play not to go to school to get a degree. They play for their next stage in the sport.
And now college athletes can now make money from
sponsorships and stuff.
So now you've skewed it even more. Now you've said to your kid in high school, now you need to play like this and do this, where you're forcing them to do something because they liked it.
But how many of that is also because we live through our kids and we want, we see with their potential of oh, you can do this and look how good you are. You should keep going. You should keep doing it, instead of going, hey, you're doing awesome.
Yeah,
do you still have the same passion for this that you did?
No, because of moneyism, dude.
Yeah.
It's just
because of the world that we live in is consumer-based.
I'm going to call this the parable of Thomas.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Thomas, the focus of money is our focus. It's once I have more money, I can buy all the things that will make me happy.
But I won't be happy.
No, because it's not the stuff we buy.
Dude, it's like this. Brandon and I love playing Gran Turismo. I know some people have been like, the Derby game has better controls, and it feels, you know what? That's maybe so, but I love it. This makes my nipples hard. I love this game. And it's fun. it's competitive and it's fun, and I don't get mad. I just go, well, it's me that needs to be better. And but anyways, like, you know, I enjoy that stuff, but it's not like every day. Like even last night, dude, like I wanted all day. I worked hard.
Yeah.
I ran around, did so many different things, had a lot of meetings, got some cool stuff that I'll present to you later on. That's awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff I'm getting ready for us. Again, leaning into your superpower, and I'll go into the superpowers later on. But dude, it was a hard day, and all I wanted to do, it was like how my friend used to love coming home from being a mechanic all day. And the favorite thing he loved doing is having a slice of Costco cheesecake. He would buy one of those big fucking things.
Yeah.
And he would just take off a slice every day when he came home. Like he looked forward to that. It was the simple things in life that he enjoyed. And that's video games for me.
It's finding happiness in that moment. And it's like, it's
a good thing. It's not necessary though.
No.
And last night I was about to go and play, and I didn't even realize what time it was.
Yeah.
And it was midnight. And I'm like, and part of my brain was like, you could get a couple matches in, kill some people on Insurgency and kind of get that itch scratched. And I'm like, no, you need to wake up early. You need to do these things. Just go ahead and put this away. And I had no problem doing that. And and back to that story was this guy loved his cheesecake, right? And he came home one day and he just bought it. He had 2 slices out of the entire thing. The entire thing was gone.
Oh, damn.
There was crumbs. And he's like, hey, honey, have you, what happened to the cheesecake? She goes, I ate it. And he goes,
the entire
all of it?
cheesecake?
She goes, yeah. And he goes, does that scare you? She's like, no. And he goes, it scares me. He went to his room, and I was like, dude, because she was heavier set at the time.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just like, oh, fuck. Like,
damn.
But dude, it's exact thing. That parable right there, right? The parable of a Costco cheesecake is that, look, you can enjoy these nice little things.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't become your life.
Everything.
Because if you eat it all at once, you have nothing to show other than being gluttonous. And if being gluttonous is your goal and you feel great about that, like on a spiritual level, fuck yeah, you do you, bro.
Even on like, honestly, I don't think there's ever been a time that I've been gluttonous where I've eaten a fuck ton of anything that I have come out feeling great on the other side.
Oh no, dude, that's like playing video games for 5 hours straight. You just feel like,
so it's like, I honestly don't think there is a good outcome of that, of like, ooh, now, I did so good.
Now again, the power of position, if we were doing much better than we are now, I could dedicate maybe one day out of the month saying, Brandon, it's 8:00. You know what time it is. And we get in our little racing thing and we fucking race for like a couple hours. We smoke a bowl. We talk on the phone. We go back to racing. I could only do that like once
in a month or something.
Yeah, once in a blue moon.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
It's not going to be something consistently done. And it's like that cheesecake. Like I just imagined how my throat would feel, how heavy it would be in my body, and to not realize that that's something bad. And it shouldn't become your life. And that's why I see consumerism is just changing, just chasing shit. And
it's because we're always unhappy. And instead of looking at like, hey,
dude, I'm broken. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life.
That's fantastic though. See, and I feel like finding that within is like,
but yeah, it's exactly what you said. Like, finding it within.
Because it's like you realize that it truly doesn't matter all the other shit, because none of that is what truly makes you happy.
No. But it's all due to the magic of cannabis, literally, because it slows me down enough to think this way, man. Like I never thought about that. Now my goal, like my passion in life is to be able to use anything I can to be able to build the money that will just sustain and keep things moving forward so I can help more people. Yeah. With something that I have discovered that I'm very good at. And I'm like, you know what? I love that. And I love Cannabis School. But the cool thing is that Cannabis School is just us. So, you know, as we start being able to grow what we're building right now and being able to go out, see people and interact with people, we spread that goodness everywhere, man. And and I want to help so many people. So money is only the vehicle to be able to create more friendships, create better communities, then so be it. Like, I would rather live pretty simple. I couldn't, I could never say that, like, I have a lot of fucking people in my family, and I'll probably have to get an even bigger home because my dad's getting older.
Yeah.
And I'm totally fine with that. But dude, I could never live lavishly, dude. Like, down by my house. Have you seen those houses by the lake?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Aaron lives over there. His big, nice house, gorgeous. Like, he's got his movie theater and he's got everything. And he's on the lake. Like, it's a gorgeous view. Gorgeous
It's
home.
such a
But
obnoxiously big home.
What the hell? Like, I never had the desire to have that big of a home because I've thought about it. Even like
it's unnecessary.
the Grandview home that my parents had. It was like, okay, it was 6,000 square feet, which felt like a large home. And I'm like, that would be massive for me. And then if my kids aren't there, I have to clean that.
I didn't.
to, like,
the
all
one
of this
design
shit-
flaw in that, I hated that loft.
I loved the loft. I hated the front walkway. It was so long. The hallway was so long. Granted, it was filled with a ton of pictures, but like, they should have opened it up.
Yeah, it was a lot of wasted
That was
area.
like it made.
I would have had her open it up bigger.
Yeah, and I think they did once they sold it. Whoever bought it tore that whole wall down and
Dude.
opened it up because I was like, that was the best way to do it. Past that, I loved the home. It was fantastic.
Oh, dude, your backyard, the deck,
Oh yeah.
that gigantic garage.
Oh, my dad's shop in the back.
Yeah.
But that was, to me, that's excess. That's something I would never need. And I look at that and I'm like, with my size of family, I would be more than happy with like a 2,500 square foot home or 3,000 square foot
more than
home.
enough. Yeah.
Like, that would be plenty for me. And
Well, it'd be better to
I don't need more than
diversify,
that.
right? I mean, if you could do that one, have multiple homes in different places.
so I've never.
And that's
had
not
the
wealthy.
No, I've never had the desire to have a big I take that back. When I thought about doing reconstructive plastics, and I was married to a very
Materialistic woman.
materialistic person, my
Mhm.
focus was, oh, hey, cool. Well, at first, when I was thinking of doing, dentistry, and then it went to orthodontia, and then from there, like, well, wouldn't really actually enjoy doing the mouth, so cleft palates, and that would be cool. And I went from, well, I'd get a Ferrari because those are what, 6-figure car, to, well, I'd get a Lamborghini because I'd make that much more and it would be fine. And going to the parade of homes with my parents because my dad was a general contractor, walking in these multi-million-dollar homes going, yeah, I'd have this kind of a home. And now I'm like, why? Why in God's name would I ever want that? I have no desire for that. I have no thing of like, I want to have this big, extravagant, like, no, I'm going to be bumming in some sweatpants, some fucking Crocs. I'm going to have a nice home, but like, just so it lasts. I want quality stuff so it lasts.
I think the only lavish thing that I would like to have in there, just because I enjoy my time, is showers. Really nice.
Oh, yeah.
And the only reason why,
Yeah.
like, my shower had a leak in the shower pan
Mm-hmm.
for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And so it all rotted out the wood and everything like that. So the landlord had to come in, rip it all out.
Yeah.
And so I've been just like helping keeping everything clean so they can move quicker for
Mhm.
themselves. And it's been a cool experience. But dude, it's just like, man, when you take a shower, like, it feels nice to be in a nice shower.
Yeah. And I mean, my home's from the 40s, our water heaters.
I love your house.
So it's
though.
like, 15-minute shower and then the hot water's gone. But when I was younger and we lived on Grandview, that house, because it had heated floors with water, well, it ran a boiler. So you never ran out of hot water. So I could have 40-minute shower and it didn't matter because,
the heated floors is so cool, though.
yeah, until
The driveway, too, huh?
No.
No?
They thought about it, but it was going to be like another 60 grand. And my dad's like, I don't want to spend 60 grand just so I never have to shovel, because he had a 4-wheeler with a plow. And it was like, it takes me a few minutes
fun.
and I have fun riding around for a few minutes and it's done. So he was like 60 grand or, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But the floors, it was fantastic because my mom is a really small person. She's always cold. So having heated floors, it's like even in the bathroom in the
That's
winter,
so crazy
get up
extravagant.
and you walk on the floors and it's nice and warm and you're not like jarred awake because the floors are freezing cold. So, that was, so going from that to, I mean, like I said, I've had all sorts of different things in life and I don't, like, the stuff isn't what's important. It's not the label on my clothes. It's not like,
No.
I'm like, I want comfortable stuff because I've lived in pain long enough that I enjoy comfort. And
Yeah, I would like to get a decent car, not crazy car, and I'd like to I want to feel comfortable. I don't care so much about the gas mileage because it burns regardless. I mean, if I want a long distance driver, yeah, I'll care more about that one. But the thing for me is comfort and that's all.
comfort
And I don't
is
want to
huge.
exactly. I just want to be, and you know what? That's so primitive of us because that's what humans want. They want comfort. That's why they, instead of just being nomads, they would all gather together because they're like, hey, this is better if we're together. Like, I don't have to do the food all the time. I don't have to fucking forage. I don't have to get the fire going. I don't have to take care of the children.
Well, you think, because it's a community.
Well,
and
that
it's
always
like,
has to happen. You have to take care of your children.
yeah, but you think about like community style, and I was thinking about it the other day as I was doing dishes and stuff. It popped in my head, and I was like, I bet Jesse really enjoys being part of the largest community in Utah. I bet it's a really comforting feeling to know that everywhere around there's someone who will be willing to help most of the time.
Yeah, it is.
And it
it's
was
great.
like, that's probably got to be a nice peace of mind to have that.
It is and it isn't. I mean, the other part is, like we've come on hard times, and I've asked my church for help, and they've been like, no problem. Like, and the really horrible thing is, I've heard the exact opposite from many other people. They're like, oh, they told me no, they wouldn't help me. Like my mother-in-law, her bishop wouldn't help her. She was a single mom, couldn't pay for rent, and he says, sorry, we can't help.
Seeing that part, but
that's fucked up. But it's the person,
it's the
not
person, and that. But it also could have been the stake president that had. But
yeah,
again,
exactly.
It's the person.
It is, but it's nice. But the cool thing I like about it is that it's not my label anywhere I've gone. Like they don't go, oh, it's Jesse the Mormon, and there are people like that you meet either in life and business, like, oh, it's John the Catholic. Oh, it's here's Brandon the Protestant.
It's because you have to. Everyone has a label, and it's so even Addie at school. There was they just switched semesters, so new classes, new kids in classes, and she goes into her math class, and some kid she's never met, never seen, randomly is like, "Do you believe in God?" Addie's like, "No." He's like, so what? You just believe in Satan? Fuck you. You're a horrible person. You're going to go to hell. And I'm like, did you just go, yeah, that sounds exactly what Jesus teaches?
No, you just say, all right.
Or like, you realize that those are two sides of the same story, bro. God and Satan are the same book. So just because I don't believe in God doesn't believe I believe in Satan. Like, what?
Well, and that goes on to those people. I mean, it's like what happened to a lot of faiths during the pandemic, because a lot of people based faith off of what others were doing.
Do you think a lot of people joined faiths during pandemics?
No, I think they left them.
I think people who were in it. I just wondered if people who were outside from any perspective found peace or solace in that.
Yeah, actually, there were a good amount, but
I wasn't religious during that time. Do you know if missionaries from your church were out during COVID, or were they pulled back because?
Well, that's why a lot of like their new prospecting, they used to do a lot of door knocking. They don't do door knocking at all anymore.
Do you know if they were really out then, or did COVID?
Only if somebody made an appointment.
So
because then
were they still sending missionaries out during COVID
in certain
time?
areas? In certain areas.
Okay.
But if they didn't, they were going to stay there anyways.
I just wondered if
service
during that time, if as a whole across the world, missionaries, because of COVID, they kind of reduced going out because of
in certain places. Some places were like
or other things, like some of them did,
and they still did great.
I was like, I never really thought about that because I wasn't religious, and it wasn't a thought that really popped in my head. But I'm curious if there was any sort of shift from non-religious to that. I know there was a lot of people leaving it because it's kind of like relationships.
Locally there was. Yeah.
I think COVID in general made everyone think, because they had to. It changed our entire world, and humans, we become so caught in our patterns and habits that every day sometimes can feel the same. And so when COVID happened, it was like, wait, do I like my life? Do I like my religion? Do I like my partner? Do I like my job? Because so many people quit their jobs, or, the job went away, or like they relationships, they broke up because it was like, oh, wait, I'm spending all my time with you and I realize I don't actually like you.
Well, but it's this idea that you just kind of got to go along with the narrative, and that's why it lasted as long as it did. You know, as horrible and tragic as COVID was, it was a really good wakening up for people because they were just walking around like robots, zombies.
Everyone was in a haze. It was a real big, abrupt slap to the face for the world.
Well, for some people were like, dude, we knew this shit was coming. Like, it's just a matter of time, and people want to, I mean, it could be multiple things. It could be conspiracies and all that stuff. I look at it just like animal populations. When they start getting high in densely packed areas, not necessarily across the world, but in densely packed areas, more illness.
Oh, yeah.
More death, more
everything
crime.
Happened. Yeah.
Yeah, everything. I mean, look at New York City.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tiny place, comparatively speaking.
Oh, like
it could fit in
square foot wise. Yeah, it's tiny.
Yeah, it's like a county in Utah.
Oh, yeah. But yet, so many people live there.
We don't have, we don't even like, I think we could fill a county in New York. We have like barely 4 million people in our state.
But we have a lot of land. Like, it's pretty well spread out.
Yeah, but it's all around the Wasatch Front.
Yeah, well, because we have cluster fucks, and it's all down I-15. But then we have land.
So much land. And now it's starting to be developed. But even then, it's not as packed as these areas. And it's just, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. We have gone on for a while.
This has been a random ass conversation.
Not necessarily random. It's just like, you know.
Brought to you by Miracle Alien Cookies.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's really good. I mean, you know, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. The flavor, meh. Smell, meh. Taste,
I liked it better. The flavors further into the bowl. I like the smells after it was ground more than I did from there. Not horrendous cottonmouth, but still kind of dry.
Yeah, it was there, but it didn't like stop me. I wasn't clicking. Yeah. Like I ran out of water a while ago.
Oh, damn.
Now I
don't
piss.
feel clicky. Say,
crazy.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We love you. Catch you next week. Go check out Cannabis School's website.
Yep.
And all the cool things on Cannabis School Crew.
Take it easy.